The Washington Commanders' fourth quarter defensive struggles strike again. Despite the late game drama, they barely escaped New Orleans with the nail-biting victory.
What's behind these late game struggles? Not sure what's going on. How long do y'all think we can keep living on the edge like this? We got to tighten up.
We got a lot of breakdown today. Joining us, special guest Ed Oliver and Reedie Zee starts now. Tough nail biter today. What y'all think, fellas?
Excuse me, man, huge nail biter, man. We was on the edge, like we just said, man. Just trying to figure out what's attributing to us not being able to finish strong. Started out hot, Jaden doing his thing. Definitely some mishaps in the second half that allowed Spencer Rattler to come back into this game. It was a tough one, but we squeezed it out at the end on the Philly, but it's gonna be tough. What you got, Ed?
Yeah, so it was some questionable decision making in the second half. I didn't like that Dan Quinn decided to kick a field goal with a kicker that we just signed on Thursday or Wednesday, and a guy that just missed a 41-yard kick. If time didn't expire at the third quarter, at the end of the third quarter, then he would have missed a 41-yard field goal. Especially when you have an all-pro punter in Tress Way. I think you would have put Spencer Rattler. He could have pinned him at the 1-yard line. I just feel like you kind of trust in your defense at that point instead of giving Spencer Rattler and Kendre Miller a field position at the 40, 42, wherever they got it, 41-yard line. So that was questionable down the end, but I mean, a win is a win is a win. We take it, and we squeaked it out against two backups, Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler. If JD and Terry connect on one of the three passes that were wide open, then we're talking about a different ball game. But right now, I'm just gonna soak it in, and I'm already thinking about Philly, man. I'm already thinking about Philly because it's a big week against Philly.
Yeah. What you got,
yeah, no
Reedie?
question. You definitely have to question that 41-yarder that he missed earlier previously in the game. That was negated by the clock running out for the quarter. If he missed that one, and I kind of was already telling Z last week that Joseph he was shaky with the Giants. That's the reason why he got cut. Like you alluded to, Ed, and just for that us to see that happen again, it just was like crazy because I'm sitting there like, this dude is gonna miss this kick. And then when he missed that kick, I was like down the stretch when it was a questionable call. Like I may have would have went for it there. But I guess they was trying to do whatever they was trying to do. But yeah, definitely questionable to kick that field goal in that moment. I felt like we could have kept our foot on the gas, and it's just like how it's been the last few weeks, in the fourth quarter, in the second half, we just given up too many points down the stretch. We're able to stay on the field and convert and stuff in the first half, and then the second half is just a different team that shows up.
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, first half offense come out striking. Jaden moving the ball. Definitely had a lot of plays though where I feel like he should have been a little bit more careful, doing some scrambling around, getting to the sidelines. Getting 1 yard, trying to make something out of it. With a lot of times, it's like, man, just throw the ball away. You don't want to take an extra hit. I know you're trying to, do all that you can, but sometimes just be a little bit smarter, especially when you're not even really getting any gains on them. But I mean, overall, passing wise, he was hitting on all cylinders. He probably had like 2 incompletions the entire first half. Terry pretty much on that play, on the touchdown play, Jaden back there scrambling around, and Reedie mentioned earlier, I didn't see it until the replay. Like he falls and he almost drops the ball, like gets up and throws a strike. 2 guys right there. I'm not sure what Brian Robson was doing in that area, but Terry just comes across with a monster catch over 2 defenders. That was mean. Terry's playing at an all-pro level, and then to come back again, down in the red zone to score again. Another game where Terry ends up with 2 tutties. I think he finished with 7 for 73 and 2 touchdowns. So Terry's playing big in big moments. Would have also like to see us kind of, continue the flow of the running game. I felt like B-Rob, kind of was just getting caught up in the middle a little bit, wasn't able to, get any long runs. But overall, it was a solid outing. I mean, he had, like 20 carries, 60-some yards. So I'd like to see a little bit more there. But, I mean, from the looks of things, it seemed like we tried to run the ball, but the Saints defense showed up today. I mean, 8 sacks. How y'all feel about the 8 sacks? What was going on with the O-line today?
Yeah, Chase Young got in the mix too, man. He had 2 sacks today. It's a mixture. I know Biotis being out. I know that didn't help us out at all, especially with that being like a game time decision. The illness that popped up today, so I know that didn't help us out. And Jaden, he was trying to make things happen. Sometimes when he held onto the ball, he made stuff shake, and then sometimes when he held onto the ball too long, he ran into a sack. With the Chase Young sack, he ran into that one. Holding on to the ball. You saw him chirping back and forth with Carl Granderson. They were chirping back and forth, talking trash. So that was cool to watch that. But I think some of it was, him trying to make some plays, trying to extend plays. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. So I think it was some of that. And they have a good defense. And Cam Jordan's a good defensive lineman. There was the play action that we had in the red zone where we had the ball on the 2-yard line. And that ended up in a sack. So I do give some of the credit to the Saints defensive line because Cam Jordan's a good defensive lineman. Granderson's a good defensive lineman. And then, when Chase Young decides to show up, he's a good player. I'll give him credit for that. But I think some of the play calling wasn't great with Cliff. And that one play on the red zone, we should have ran the ball with B-Rob or even Rodriguez, McNeil.
Absolutely.
That can get the ball in the end zone. So I just feel like that play call by Cliff in the red zone. I think that was a little part of it, but there's a couple of things you can pinpoint for 8 sacks.
Yeah, I thought Jaden held on to the ball a little bit too long on some. He was a tad bit late trying to move up, and the pocket kind of collapsed on him, and they kind of got there. There were a few times that he was able to get away and get down the field and scramble. But I mean, it was a solid performance from Jaden. I believe in the first half, but I just felt like in the second half, the play calling was slightly questionable, and some of the things that we were doing. And I just felt like we got away from the run game. We got away from the run game in the second half. We was like kind of chasing the pass. And then, it's like they were trying to prove something, like because they went up top to Terry, he had to drop the one that was a little bit too far for him. And then they came right back to it. I think it was like 2 plays later. I felt like that was a force. I mean, obviously you had him in one-on-one coverage, but I don't think that was a time where you should have, probably took that shot. They were just a little bit not in sync with each other on that. But we've seen thus far throughout this year that they've been in sync on most of, those down the field passes. And Terry was lined up on the right side. I just think that, like I said before, the play calling was, necessarily slightly questionable. But, Jaden Daniels, he finished with 25 for 31, 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. Quarterback rating of a 118. So I mean, it was an okay performance, but performances like this and in the second half is going to come back to bite us when we play better teams. And we've been talking about that over the last few weeks, as we see Philadelphia next week, and then even the Atlanta game. I don't necessarily think that we can play like this against them. Obviously, the Dallas game is going to be a toss-up game depending on what Dallas team shows up, but down the stretch, like I said, these are 3 must-win games. We got this one today barely, but moving forward, we had to play much better in the second half of games.
Totally agree. Also, I mean, offensively, we got to see other guys contribute. Zacchaeus, he had an early on touchdown that was called back from like a legal motion or legal shift. So that negated that play. But there are other plays as well. Crowder got in there, had a key 3rd down catch. I was psyched about that. I've been talking about Crowder for weeks, just thinking that, with him getting back, he'll be more than just a return guy. Get him in the slot, get him on some key 3rd downs and stuff like that, which we saw today. Also, to have him back there as a punt returner was a great sight to see. He already came in and, You know what I mean? He didn't do much, but I just felt more comfortable with him back there than Zacchaeus. Zacchaeus has pretty much given us nothing back there all year. And then also, you know, contributions came from Ertz. Ertz had that nice one-handed catch. You know, going down in the red zone. Hope he's well. It looked like he was he didn't return because he was in protocol. So I want to, you know, check in on him on that. But I think offensively, we did get to see other guys kind of, you know, slightly step up in the moments outside of Terry. How y'all think? What y'all think about that?
I thought De'Ami Brown showed flashes of what we thought he could be earlier in the season. The one pass was negated by the Nick Allegretti. I believe it was a holding call. But you know, even like we said before, you know, De'Ami Brown has been really good on the screens. Again, he was really good on the screen. I think he had 1 or 2 screens a day, if I'm not mistaken. But you know, we have to continue to spread the ball around, you know, and this Ertz concussion is probably going to be pivotal for us down the stretch, because if, believe it or not, he's Jaden Daniels' security blanket. You know, when he can't get it to Terry, he wants to go to Ertz. So, you know, other players stepped up. Jamison Crowder was really big, and you called that last week, Z. In this game, he had his, you know, a couple catches. You know, I guess Z knows what he's talking about when he's talking about Jamison Crowder, because that's his man. But, you know, overall, I think that, you know, it's going to be by committee. You know, we posed a question on Instagram about should we possibly think to go get Odell Beckham, that he's out there on the market to possibly come in and help this team. And basically everybody's just basically saying no. So we got, you know what I'm saying, this is a lethargic receiver room besides Terry McLaurin. I thought that Luke McCaffrey came up big a couple of times in the return game. And you know, I didn't really know he had the speed that he showed on one of those returns where he kind of got, you know, a little bit of a good yardage.
Yeah, no, I'm with both of you guys. I thought De'Ami made some plays. He had 3 catches for 30 yards, which is, you know, not doesn't jump off the stat sheet, but I mean, he had one really nice catch where, of course, it was called back by a penalty. We had way too many penalties. We had 9 penalties today as a team. Alamane had a nice catch for a first down too. Crowder made some impact plays. He had a first down catch too, and he was returning punts. So I do like that Dan Quinn made that switch to Jameson Crowder, because I think Jameson Crowder is the better punt returner between the two, between him and Alamane, Zacchaeus. But yeah, Ertz, I mean, it's tough because the play that he got injured, he made a really nice – that was a really nice one-handed catch. So for him to go down on that play just really hurt. It's a concussion, so we've seen how concussions have lingered with players. You see what's going on with Austin Eckler. He got his second concussion, so he's most likely going to be done for the year. We've seen in the past with, you know, I know it's different regimes. You know, we've seen Jordan Reed and other guys like that. Vernon Davis get concussions. They were out for the whole season. So, you know, you just never know what's going to happen, especially since there's only 3 games left. You're missing Noah Brown, and you could potentially be missing Zach Ertz. Guys like Ben Simmons, you got to step up. John Bates, you sign a guy. I'm trying to think if we even have a tight end on the practice squad. I think we got Colson Yankoff or Yankoff, and Cole Turner might be on the practice squad. So it's just like the weapons are just, you know, we got some injuries right now. I know they just signed KJ Osborne, so we'll see what happens when he starts playing next week or the week after. Hopefully he suits up against the Eagles. But yeah, man, it's wide receiver by committee other than Terry. Some guys got to step. We got to get Luke involved. Jaden, they got to connect. But I think today was somewhat of a step in the right direction. De'Ami and Alamane, they didn't make stat. They weren't stat, but they made good plays to move the chains. And you know, that's just what we do need a tight end to step up, because you know, it was Zach, and when he got hurt too, pick Zach up, and he was wobbly and he fell back down too. So that didn't look too great right there. So. We'll see what happens other than Terry. We're going to need some guys against the Eagles.
Yeah, I agree, Ed. I was watching your show earlier when you was talking about the tight ends, and kind of put that on my mind. Like, okay, who the hell is out there on the free agent market? I immediately went to search, and I was having trouble finding names for real. I did see Jimmy Graham out there, but I don't like. Is he even still around? I don't know. Yeah. So it's like,
that's not worth our time.
Yeah, like, and then Bates Bates did had a one good catch today, but it's like he iffy. It's like damn the Amani Rogers and all them. We missed them guys, man. They guys couldn't get off the injury report though.
But my thing is this: why is Benson not more involved in this offense? Like, what is he not doing in these practices and in these in games that he can't get a target? He was touted coming out of college as he was going to be this guy that can catch the football and he can block. I mean, all we've basically seen him do is kind of block. So I'm just curious to see why he hasn't, elevated himself to be the player that we thought he was going to be once he was drafted here. Is it a scheme thing? Is it a football knowledge thing, or like what is it? Like what do you guys think it is with our tight end groups that only one tight end really shows up, and that's Zach Ertz?
No, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, like you said, the practice thing, I don't know what's going on in practice. I know even in training camp, like they were saying, people who went to training camp were saying that he, was running with like the third team at sometimes, which I know is normal because he's a rookie. But I don't know. Like you said, coming out of Kansas State, I mean, he looks like the real deal. I mean, everybody looks like the real deal coming out of college, but he made some big plays. He was breaking tackles. He was a yak guy, moving the chains, red zone target, all kinds of stuff. They were using him as a fullback. He's supposed to be like a Kyle Juszczyk kind of guy. Some people were comparing him to Chris Cooley, which I think was a little too much at times. But yeah, he needs to be used more. I think he's got the talent, man. He's got good hands from what I saw in college. So they have no choice but to use him now. So it's like, we got to give more opportunities, more chances. I feel like, he can come in and make plays. And Zach, I like Zach Ertz. He's been solid so far. Yes, he's had some drops here and there and stuff like that. You kind of want more yak from him because he doesn't give you anything after the catch. He usually catches it and falls down. And I get it. He's 34, 35, 36 or whatever age he is. No yak Zach. So Senate can give you more, man. Like, we need yak. We need guys to give you more after the catch. And I think Senate can do that, especially since he's got the young legs, too. This is a year. So, I mean, we got to give him more targets. And there's times when they give John Bates more targets than Ben Simmons. So, I don't know. I mean, Cliff, he needs to dial some things up for Ben Simmons for sure, man. So, he needs some more time, man. He needs some more playing time. He needs some more snaps. I know in the beginning of the year, he had a false start against the Giants, and I think he had like another false start like that. But no, he's good in the block game too. So it's not like he can't block. He's a good blocker too. So he needs more opportunities. And this is his time now. We have no choice. We got to go to him.
Yeah, absolutely. So where do we go? Cole Turner? Like, I'm trying to figure out like who's on the practice squad that we elevate at this point that can possibly help us. Like him coming out, we thought that the first couple preseason games a few years ago, we thought he was going to be this next player to step up at the tight end position. But like, what do we have? Like, there's nobody really on the open market for us to go get. So where do we get that production? I mean, obviously our third and our fourth receivers aren't really able to do what we need them to do. So with KJ Osborne coming in, I believe that he may have the opportunity to to step up and make more plays in lieu of us missing this tight end now.
Yeah, definitely. It will be interesting to see how he's used and the volume and everything and what the adjustment will be, especially if Ertz is out. We would hope that there's somebody to call up on the practice squad, but again, it's looking real thin. So that's going to be the big question, I would say, all week. And I'm gonna be looking for the answer. So we'll see tomorrow, I guess, and so on after they evaluate Ertz and move along. But that's gonna be a huge question moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely. What else you got on the offense, Z? That you saw?
Offensively, that's pretty much covers it. I mean, we talked about the key contributors. The secondary guys and Terry and B. Robin Daniels. The offensive line, I think a lot of those sacks was on the scrambling and trying to, guys maybe not being open downfield and things like that, kind of holding the ball that we spoke on. But there was a few times where they did get beat, but I don't think all 8 sacks attributed to them. Some of those could have been avoided.
I agree. And like I said before, I believe some of it was Jaden holding the ball. But you got to give credit where credit due. The Saints, they played a good, solid defensive game. They kind of took away, some of our, his second and third reads, where he had to get out there and he had to use his feet to get to the edge and, pick up pivotal first downs and things of that nature. We got to attribute it to that, but that's just nasty work. 8 sacks, like that's crazy. Like, down the stretch, like even going into the playoffs, like I'm not even trying to look that far down the road, but that's not going to work for us. That's not winning football, and Dan Quinn always touts this winning time moments. And a lot of these winning time moments, we were on the other side of it. So that's something that we got to, think about, moving down the stretch. And just watching the Eagles game tonight, it just was like, damn, like last week I was on the high horse saying like we could beat them, this, that, and the third, and saying like they're not this, they're not that. But now I'm just like, damn, they good. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to get credit where credit's due, you know what I'm saying? What they were able to do against Pittsburgh tonight, it was just like, damn, like we really about to play these dudes.
Make sure you clip that up. I need to hit that on the. I don't know if you seen Ed. He was giving me heat when I said that the Eagles, they even though they winning by the skin of their teeth, they are a solid team and they find ways to win. And he was telling me I'm conceding because I said I'm scared to think we might lose to them and all this thing. So make sure we clip that up.
Well, why you gotta bring up old shit?
I'm just saying. Every time I say something, I catch you always come back like, yeah, you right. You was right, Z. Respect.
Nah, it's week to week, bro. Like week to week.
That's the thing with the Eagles. They're just so talented. When you have AJ Brown, Devontae, and Saquon, and a bunch of guys, like you can always bounce back. Jalen he was terrible. He was terrible. They should have lost to the Panthers. They even when they beat us, Jalen Hurts didn't have a good game. He didn't play well against the Ravens either. The Ravens, they missed 3 kicks. They beat themselves. The Ravens beat themselves in that game too. And Jalen Hurts, he's been protecting the football. Like he's kind of been playing like Alex Smith. If you look at his numbers, he's been throwing the ball for like 100 yards, like 19, 18 pass attempts. So he hasn't really had to do too much. But no, he stepped up today. Like, I didn't get a chance to watch it. I watched some of the first half, but I know he played way better. He got the ball to AJ Brown, and a lot of the things that the Eagles do. Like they like to have, they don't like to have it, but they have like a lot of conflict. They have like little beefs and stuff like that. That's stuff we don't have. We have really good chemistry as a team. You can stay out our locker room from the outside looking in. So it was kind of like when AJ Brown was saying what he was saying, it was like, okay, are the Eagles going to go on one of their, losing streaks where they don't get along with each other? They're infighting a lot, saying stuff on social media. Brandon Graham, but he woke up today. He beat a good team in the Steelers, so I give him credit. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game on Sunday for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, defensively, what did y'all see? I'll just speak on. I think Deron Payne had a solid game. He was able to get back there and cause pressure. He was able to get in a couple of half sacks. But it was just good to see him kind of have a better game after he's been getting heat all year about not being able to, apply pressure, not, kind of get caught up in this gap and not really hitting the stat sheet. Outside of Payne, I think Chin was solid as well. Hopefully he's fine. I see he went down with an injury. Hopefully he's okay. But overall, I think those two were some key contributors today on the defense outside of Marshawn locking his side down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think. Go ahead, Ed.
Oh yeah, I was the same person Atlanta for sure. He had a good day. You don't hear a DB's name. You hear the St. Juice name, unfortunately, all the time. So when you don't hear a defensive back's name, it's a good thing. And some people already put out stats and numbers about he was targeted 0 times today, which is awesome. And he shut it down. Like they know the Saints. They know him. They're very familiar with him, playing with him. So they knew they weren't going to. He had 0 targets. He gave up 0 completions, 0 yards. So he locked down his side of the field today. He did what he was supposed to do. He did why we traded for him. I did want him to get a pick today, but they didn't throw it his way. Mikey Sanders still stepped up, got an interception. He did drop 1. So I'm a little upset with that. He's got to catch the interceptions. Frankie Lou dropped well. So we should have got 3 weeks there. But it is what it is. I think we did get pressure. Like Dante Fowler was getting pressure, but they called the terrible penalties. I was like, come on, man. Like, this is crazy. Like, it's football. Like, in Dante, like, he wasn't even, like, going crazy after the quarterback. He did a simple tackle. The first one was another simple, like, tackle, and the second one was a simple tackle, too. And they took him out of the game. But it's like, man, like these guys can't play football anymore with a quarterback. It's got to be 2-hand touch, flag football kind of stuff. Like, this is football, and I don't think he did anything malicious towards Spencer Rattler. And those were those drives that helped them to score too. So that's what hurt about the roughing the passer calls. So Dante's got to be better. I'm not blaming Dante, but of course he's the Eagles next week. He's just got to be careful and be more mindful about that. Other than him, like you guys said, stepped up. He had a nice batted pass. Johnny Newton had a batted pass too. The run game, the run defense was good until the fourth quarter. Correct. Like that drive where he scored the touchdown. Kendra Miller, they put Kendra Miller. Kendra Miller kept running the ball like 3 days straight, and that's what got him in the red zone. And then, of course, the other drive, a couple of times we got beat in the straight. They called it a touchdown for Kamara. I honestly, I thought it could have went either way. I thought he got the second foot down. He got control. I don't know if he really had control of the football when he put the first foot down. That's why I'm questionable on that if that was a touchdown or not. But Jake Haener, they shut him down. But when Rattler came in, it was a different. He definitely exposed some stuff in our defense. Scantlin had a couple catches for some first downs. And they put Derek Forrest in the game. He struggled with it. I was happy to finally see him in the game, but he's kind of got to get his sea legs under him. That was his first.
No.
He rusty, Reedie?
No, y'all know y'all giving him a pass. Y'all giving that man a pass. That boy's terrible.
Nah, come on.
Oh my God. Him and St. Jude, not to cut you off, Ed, but him and St. Jude need to be relegated to the sideline.
Okay,
in my opinion, I thought overall, defensively, we played a really good game. I thought the defensive line, I thought Noah I came up big in a few key situations, as well as I like Mikey and I like Marshawn Lattimore. I felt like Marshawn Lattimore, like he just locked down that whole side. Like I text to our group chat during the game, I was like, they not even going to throw to his side. Like it just was like crazy. They just was literally going to the other side. And Mikey made me a believer. Like, just a few times in coverage, he kind of got beat because he was sitting back. But, other than that, overall, I thought, they pretty much played outstanding. They kept everything in front of them. They didn't really let nobody get really deep. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he had a couple plays that he should have made that he didn't make. But that's football, just the way it goes. But I thought that Dante Fowler and I thought Dorrance Armstrong, I thought they played a good game. I thought we could have got a little bit more pressure on him, but I like to see Bobby Wagner blitzing the A gaps and you bring in Louvu and the others off the edge. It was like giving us a different dynamic and a different look that we aren't used to seeing in this defense over the last regime and the last previous years. But overall, I thought it was solid play until the fourth quarter when what's his name? Condre Miller, he kind of like came in and kind of like was running all over the place, kind of gashing us up the middle and kind of getting, 6, 7, 8 yards, 10 yards down the field. I thought that was the kind of like the backbreaker for us, but it's what it's been the last few weeks, kind of like a bend but don't break kind of defense. And then the play to Kamara, it was a receiver pass. The quarterback threw it to the receiver, and he threw it back across his body, across the other side of the field. And it just was a great play. You got to give credit where credit is due on that play. That's Kamara. Kamara, like I said before in previous episodes, Kamara was the number one fantasy back in the league. You know what I'm saying? He just was turning up. And that's just stuff that he can do. You know what I'm saying? He's just a good overall running back, catching the football. So, you have to, give that, credit. But I think overall we played a strong defensive game. I thought we could have been better down the stretch. I feel like we gave up a little bit too much. But overall, I thought, the people that we kind of said that they needed to step up, they kind of stepped up in this game. because I was real critical about Dorrance Armstrong, and I thought he played an outstanding game.
Outstanding.
Today.
Outstanding. I was definitely going to talk about Dorrance Armstrong. He was all over the field today. You know what I mean? A guy that Dan Quinn talks about that he doesn't hit the stat sheet a lot, but he's always doing his job. And we've been talking about that over the last few weeks. And last week, Armstrong did catch some heat, saying that he hasn't really been doing nothing. So it was definitely exciting to see him get out there. Like I said, get some sacks. He got a tackle for loss that was like 9-yard loss. He was definitely involved. And like I said, I mentioned Payne earlier. I mentioned Chin, but also, overall the defense just felt like it was a little bit more solid today. Noah I definitely was in there in the mix. Guys were pretty much flying around. But it was heartbreaking a little bit towards the end because them draws, they ran like 3-4 straight draws on that last drive to get down on the one, and I'm like, man, the fix is in. Like I just was like I knew they was gonna go for 2 because they ain't had shit to lose. So I was definitely happy to see us hold strong and not to let that 2-point go in. But let's talk about the 3 to 4 seconds, how the clock just stopped and the refs just stopped the clock. Like, what was that about? Like, Dan Quinn took the high road and basically was like, I'm gonna leave it up to the league to check and see. But that was horrible.
Dan Quinn don't want to get fined.
Yeah, he ain't want to get fined. But that was a horrible situation by the refs, and I know they're gonna catch heat about it all week.
Yeah, like I'm standing up in my living room because by this time I'm like, oh shit, here we go again. I done seen this happen before. We about to give it up. I'm standing up right in front of the TV's like right here. I'm standing right here, and I'm just like, bro, why is the clock stopped? Like it was like it was 9 seconds. It was like 4 seconds went off the clock in my head that I'm counting. I'm like, yo, and then the clock just started stopping, and then he was able to spike the ball with 3 seconds left. But it might be 1 second right there when he spikes the ball. If they give us that was super weird.
Yeah.
And then I was listening to Sports Talk Radio, and they was talking about Hockley said that, you know what I'm saying, that they made a mistake. They owned up to it and said that it was a mistake on their part. But, you know, in the moment, like, it's nothing that they really can do. But that could have cost us the game. So, like, that was like some crazy stuff. Like, they got to get it together, you know, moving forward, like with these referee crews. But the referee crews will be narrowed down as we get into the playoffs. But, like, that's something that could come back to bite us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, yeah, that was some home cooking for sure. For them to just stop the clock for 3, 4, 5 seconds with some home cooking. I mean, and I feel like they probably would have still got one more playoff. It might have ended with literally like 2 or 1 second, but they definitely were doing some home cooking. I know Dan Quinn didn't want to say anything in the presser, but one thing I will say, going back to Defoe, is I believe he gave up the touchdown at the end of Foster Moreau. He got beat on that. I got to go back and watch it. But, you know, with Jeremy Chin, that injury was a serious injury. And I don't think he came back in the game. So it could be another situation like Zach Ertz where Center has to step up. And, you know, at the safety position, we have Prescott Butler. It's really between if Jeremy Chin doesn't play, I mean, you got Tyler Owens too, but Tyler Owens is undrafted. And no knock against undrafted agents. But, you know, he's a rookie. Whether he was drafted or not, Tyler Owens is a rookie. So, you know, somebody's got to step up, and the next guy up probably is Derek Forrest. So I'm a chalk with the sea legs for him, and you know, let him get back off the rough and see what it does. But Ben St. Jude, he's a lost cause. He's a lost cause. He only played 5 snaps today, and he played a bunch of special snaps. By the time he got in, he instantly got a penalty. So. I mean, I know the wrong draft picks is very slim, but another thing too, Jonathan, he might come back towards the end of the year. I know it's a couple years from a couple games from now, but Jonathan Allen, I saw him on the sideline too, cheering the guys on. I mean, he could make somewhat of an impact if he does come back, or he should if he does come back in the next couple games.
Yeah, they were definitely talking about that. The 21-day window may open up this week. Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Reed. I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to.
No, you good. But I was going to say that I agree with you on St. Jude. He definitely is a lost cause. He's just always so grabby. I mean, I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to stab the defender to kind of like, you know, slow him up off the line to kind of disrupt his timing. But, you know, you hit him right in his face. You know what I'm saying? And it's always at pivotal times in the game where the down and distance is favorable for us and he has these plays that it's just back-breaking plays. It's never on like a first down. It's always on like a 3rd and long that he does these things, and he puts us in these adversaryous positions where we can't kind of overcome it, and we keeping teams on the field and giving them more opportunities to possess the football and move the football down the field. But go ahead, Z.
Yeah, nah, that was just the gist of it. I wanted to talk about the John Allen return. You know what I mean? It just definitely, I give John Allen a lot of criticism.
A lot.
A whole lot, because I think he talks a lot. I think he whines. And I'm a pain guy, but I do think that we miss John Allen. You know what I mean? Just being in a rotation, but also that veteran presence and showing up the run. He's a big body in there. He takes on the double teams. Well, Payne doesn't do that as good as John. So if he does come back, I think it may be a positive thing. It's just something that we got to monitor. But like I said, if he, this week they talking about the 21-day may open up, so definitely we'll see.
Yeah, but do we think that is this kind of like a rush job? I mean, I feel like this is just like, no disrespect to John Allen, but like, are you just trying to, not necessarily, I don't want to say ride on our coattails because we're possibly going into the offs and you just want to be a part of it, or you know what I'm saying? Are you truly able to make your return? Like, because I feel like, don't come in and occupy a spot and kick somebody out of there if you're not totally ready to play. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not going to be a dominant factor in there, then just go ahead and just roll it over to the next season. What do you guys think about that?
No, I hear you on that one. I know he's always said he wants to make it to the playoffs, so he's really big on that, which is, he's a competitor. He's been a leader, been a captain of the team for the last couple of years. But no, I understand. Yeah, if he's not 100%, pectoral injury, which is a very serious injury, and it takes a while for guys to come back. But it is a partial tear. That's what John Kine did. So that's what gives him the chance to possibly come back for that last game of the year, the end of December. But no, I totally get what you're saying, and maybe they have him on snap count, like maybe 20 snaps, and they still give Johnny Newton the majority of the snaps, Deron Payne the majority of the snaps, and then you got Sheldon Day coming off the bench and Carl Davis coming in off the bench. You just kind of ease him in because there's only one game left anyway, too, when he comes back, and then you got the playoffs, which we should make. I think we're going to make the playoffs. So no, I think he will help with the pass rush. Because one of the good things he was doing before he did get injured, he was getting to the quarterback. He wouldn't finish the Tampa Bay game. He missed Baker Mayfield. He missed Baker Mayfield 2 or 3 times. Yeah. But before he got hurt, he was starting to get into a little bit of a groove. Like the Kyler Murray game, we had like 5 sacks on Murray. He had 1, and he tackles for loss. In the Browns game where we dominated on Watson, he was impactful in that game. So I do see where he clearly helped in stopping the run too. Yeah. Even though we weren't stopping the run while he was in there, we struggled to stop the run while he was in there too before he got hurt. But no, I mean he would help keep Johnny fresh and just keeping the guys fresh, kind of getting another guy in there that can make an impact play. So I can see where he could help, but if he's not 100%, I can where you're saying I understand what you're saying. Where if he's trying to he really wants to be in the playoffs, he really just wants to be in there and be a part of what we got going on. So I see both sides of it for sure. But I think if they monitor him correctly and put him like a 20 snap count, I think he can help us out.
I think he helps Payne. I think Payne goes off of him. I feel like John Allen is kind of the guy that kind of occupies the double teams and kind of gets Payne a little bit one-on-one a little bit. And now I feel like it's switched now. Like Payne is kind of occupying the double team, so he's not getting – he doesn't have the stat line that we're necessarily used to seeing Payne have, in previous seasons or whatever. But I feel like they play off each other. And I feel like, the kind of the plug and play with Jazeer Newton and, Carl Davis. And then, what's going on with Phil Mathis, you know what I'm saying? Like he keeps being a constant and active player. Like, he's healthy now. Like that was the knock on him the last few years. Like he's not been healthy. But, he's a bigger body guy. Like, you should be really occupying that nose, taking on those double team blocks and letting these linebackers flow.
Yeah, definitely agree. But I don't know. I guess we just got to see how everything pans out. But I was going to pose the question of what do y'all think adjustments need to be made for us to be a better second half team overall?
That's a good question. I would say definitely sticking with that run game. B-Rob, mixing in Rodriguez, mixing in McNichols, those guys, sticking to the run game, being physical for sure. I think Biotis will help if he's able to come back next week, which I think he should be. And like I said before, if hits one of those throws, like they got to connect. Terry dropped one. One was on Terry. He should have caught that. He should have caught the second one where it hit him in his hands. You got to catch it. And then Jaden missed him on the first one. He overthrew him. And then the third one, he underthrew the ball in the air. And I feel like Terry almost had a chance to catch it. They gotta capitalize those plays, those opportunities, man. They don't grow on trees. Like you got when you get a guy that open Terry, a number one guy, the Eagles are gonna double. You know what they did on Thursday Night Football? They said, hey, everybody else gonna have to be Quinyon Mitchell, and we're gonna have DeJohn or Reed Blankenship around Quinyon. We're gonna double. So they're gonna do the same thing. So it's gonna be tougher to get those opportunities. Clearly, we're gonna have to move on. You can't just leave him on the left side. Cliff's doing a better job of that. Putting Terry on the right side, giving him different opportunities, put him in the slot, different looks, switch it up. So that's a part of it too. And then when we do get in the red zone, you can't just do the play actions. You gotta run the football too. And the times too, we have those 4th down situations where it's 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. And Dan Quinn, he was a little more aggressive. We went for it on 4th down one time. So, but the second half, as far as the offense, I would say keep Terry around. Other receivers got to step up. Jaden's got to use his legs more, get the ball out quick, and the offensive line has to be better too, especially going up against. Once again, last week, Jalen Carter got the best of us. So Sam Cox got to step up, and the O line's got to be better too.
Yeah, I feel like the O line with Tyler Biadasz coming, if he comes back next week, I think we'll be a little bit stronger up front. I feel like the recipe to success is the same recipe that it's been all year. When we're able to run the football, it opens up our whole playbook. It opens up our short game. It opens up our intermediate game, and then we could take our shots when we take our shots. I think that just got to run the ball. Like we can't abandon the run game. Like that's what got us here. That's what got us to. I would say 8 wins because we didn't really run the ball too much today. We ran it, but I feel like we could have ran it a little bit more. But, that's what's going to keep us on point. That's what's going to open up Terry. And I feel like Osborne or whoever else, what other secondary receivers that we have, De'Ami Brown, Luke McCaffrey, other players just need to step up. And if other players step up and come up with pivotal catches and stuff down the stretch to keep the chains moving and keep us in good down and distances, I feel like, we'll be fine. And then defensively, we just have to just play a whole 60-minute football game. Like, we play good the first half, through the third quarter. Then it's whatever reason in the fourth quarter, I don't know if we're tired or what, and then that goes back to the complementary football. If the offense is able to possess the ball and move the ball and stay on the field, then, it keeps the defense a little bit more fresher. And then down the stretch, they'll be better. But I think if we do those things and continue to run the football and take our shots when we can, I think we'll be fine. And then Cliff Kingsbury, just call a better game. I feel like the last Eagles game on the 4th down play, everybody knows that we're going to do the read option, and Jaden is probably going to pull it and try to get to the edge. We gotta scheme up something different, something that we haven't put on tape. Like we gotta put in a new wrinkle or something. For the it's the second time we playing this team, so even down the stretch, like because it's so much film on what we do, we just got to be a little bit better with that.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, just to go back to what you talk about being predictable, when we was talking about that goal line play today on that 3rd down, I sitting here, me and El was at my house watching the game, and I told El, if he runs a bootleg or a play action, I'm gonna go fucking crazy. Like we're on the 1-yard line, run a dive. He got B-Rob, he got us down to the 1. Reward him, get him in the end zone. Even if he don't get it on 3rd down, go for it on 4th down. You know what I mean? You end up in a play action, you lose yards. we end up kicking a field goal. But it's like, damn, man, like that was horrible play calling, and everybody knew you was gonna try to run something like that, and Cam Jordan was all over it. So Cliff definitely got to stop being so predictable in them situations. And I mean, of course, we got to talk about it. It was the elephant in the room a couple weeks ago. We back at the same situation. We still have a kicker problem. This is what, our 7th kicker this year. Do you go out and look at another kicker this week, Reedie?
Absolutely.
I feel like call up the guy I sent you the other day. What was his name?
Absolutely.
Matthew, right?
Absolutely. We call him up. He was on for Kansas City. Why not? Why not call him up? Because clearly Zane Gonzalez ain't it, and Greg Joseph ain't it. So I mean, until we can get Siebert back healthy, why not? And shit, we may have to run with him down the stretch because I feel like he's the better option. And then even in like not even just the field goal game, the kickoff game, like everything is returnable. Like we can't kick the ball through the end zone. Like I don't get that. Like, and you know, it's just like it's tough. It's tough. Like why we can't find a kicker? Like people in the chats on Instagram and stuff like that. Like why when we draft a kicker? It's just like I don't know. And then even going back to that, you know, kicking that 51-yard field goal. Why don't you pin them on the 1-yard line? And we got a all-pro punter and Tress Wade. You know, he's an all-world punter. Like I'm pretty sure we could have pinned them down there. Like it's just it just doesn't align. I just don't get it. You know.
Yeah, it's been frustrating with the kicking carousel. I mean, ever since the whole Brandon McManus allegations and whatnot, and of course, you know, he's found not guilty, and now he's kicking for the Packers, who are playing on Sunday night right now, who were battling for the 6th seed. You know, and Brandon McManus has done a good job. So I don't disagree with that. Making the decision to cut him because, of course, the history with, you know, woman and allegations with, you know, the previous regime is like you can't play around with that stuff. So I get it. But yeah, it's unfortunate that, you know, he was found not guilty and he's playing football now and doing a good job. But you know, Cybers on IR. Cade York was terrible when we traded for him. We cut him the first game of the season. We cut him. We kicked the ball out of bounds and he missed a kick. And then Zane Gonzalez, he missed 2 kicks against the Titans. So he's injured. So I mean, yeah, it's been an up and down thing. Greg Joseph wasn't good on the Giants, so I wasn't a fan of signing him. But it's hard to find a good kicker at this point in the season. I know the guys that you guys brought up. There was a kicker from the Vikings that got benched. Well, their main kicker came back, and then the kicker that they had that was kicking for them did a good job, but he had to go to the bench because the main guy came back. I got to look up his name. He might be available.
That's what we're talking about from Kansas City.
Kansas City.
Yeah. So that guy, I think they need to bring him in.
You're right. Yeah.
I don't like going through a bunch of kickers, but at this point, you gotta go through and just kind of see who can be consistent. Because when you got a guy missing 41-yard kicks and he missed 40 yards against the Giants, so like this is who he is. And as far as the touchback thing, yeah, that's a big thing too because you know you saw what Kavontae Turpin did to us. And you know he's not the only one. You know he's the best kick returner in the league at the moment, but you know other guys from other teams can do the same thing. So if you keep giving guys chances, one of them might break it. It may not be a touchdown. They flip the field and get into our territory. I mean, that's a big play. That's a big kickoff. That's a big momentum swing too. So yeah, I mean it's been tough. It's been tough. And kicking around the league has been bad. Like Justin Tucker, he's been stinking it up this year. So I'm not giving a kicker any excuse, but kicking around the league has been rough. But yeah, I would say bring some guys in for a workout for sure.
Yeah, we have to because you know we're not there yet when it comes to a personnel standpoint offensively. So we have to take whatever points we can take. You know, as good as Jaden Daniels has been, as good as Terry McLaurin has been, you know, there are still some shortcomings within this offense that need to be corrected in the offseason. And like I said, if we want to be good and we want to make a run and really maybe win a playoff game or two, depending on the seeding, and I feel like we can win 1 or 2 games in the playoffs. Now, do I think we're going to make a deep run? No, but I feel like we can win a game or 2. But the kicking game in the playoffs is pivotal. That's what you definitely need to win games because it's defensive battles. And, you know, we've seen in previous weeks, like the previous Philadelphia game, when they're kind of stopping Jaden Daniels, and you're in kind of like that no man's land where you may have to kick the field goal and you may not have the confidence to go for it on fourth down. Yeah, the whole year we've kind of been on the up and up when it comes to fourth down conversions, but as we get down and it gets a little bit tighter, that's not going to be available to us. So the kicking game is going to be pivotal.
Yeah, definitely. And as we talk about the Eagles, we can kind of roll into expectations for this game. And definitely something to stand out is the matchup between A.J. Brown and Marshawn Lattimore. So we posed a question late in the chat, says, do you think that Marshawn should follow A.J. Or stay on one side of the field? I think he should follow him.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, that's why we got him. Follow, lock up the number one, or do what you got to do, and we can figure everything else out. Especially with with Devontae Smith in there, you know what I mean. So I think that'll be a good matchup for Mikey. But we just we got to figure out a way to stop Saquon. If we can get pressure on Hurts, you know what I mean. We know what he do when he rattled. So it's definitely a possibility. But they do, like I said the last couple weeks, they do scare me. I mean, Saquon makes them a super high power offense, and we got to make sure we can contain them. We did well the first game early on, but in the fourth quarter when it wind down, you know what I mean, he scored them 2 tutties, and it just it took off from there. So we gotta mimic the energy of that game, but turn it up a little notch, and make sure that we don't have mistakes. And I mean, Clifton's got to call a solid game. But one key thing that we got to make sure we remember: B-Rob didn't play in the first game, so I think that's going to be key for us offensively. And if we can get him to run the ball, and we can be efficient, the offense should be wide open.
Oh yeah, in the Eagles game, we just didn't give him the ball enough. Honestly, I thought we should have given him the ball a little bit more, because he had how many carries did he have in the Eagles game? He had 63 yards, hit a touchdown. But I feel like he should have had carries in the Eagles game. But as far as like following AJ, yeah, I'm with you. You should definitely follow AJ. That's why we brought him here to shut down number one guys. Devontae, you Mikey on Devontae. That's a good matchup. Mikey did a good job last time he was the Eagles too. He did a good job on AJ and on Devontae. I thought we kept those guys for the most part. It's Saquon, and that's the part of their team right now. Jalen Hurts is not playing good football. Saquon picks him up. He carries them. He'll have 150 yards on the ground, 200 yards on the ground. He had 2 touchdowns against us last time. And we kind of had that bend don't break this last time we played them. We did a good job the first 3 quarters, and the fourth quarter we started to break. They do have Jahan Dotson. Bring him up is because he was here. You don't really need to worry about him, but it is what it is. And I was a Jahan Dotson fan. Like I like him. I thought he had a good rookie season. I thought he had the potential to be a really good player in the league, but it just didn't pan out. Peters is not a fan of him, and Cliff's not a fan of him. Dan Quinn, they just didn't like what they saw in training camp, and I guess the physicality of the game, blocking and other things like that. But yeah, no, this first is here, man. This is why he's here to go AJ Brown and Devontae guys. So yeah, he needs to follow AJ. And this is I want to see that matchup. That's a good matchup, man. That's gonna be a fun match to watch.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think I agree with you guys too. I think that Marshawn definitely needs to follow whomever the number one is. AJ Brown, he kind of got a little banged up. At the end of the game, he was able to come back in the game. He kind of got the hip drop tackle, kind of got him. He rolled his ankle or whatever, but he came back in the game. So I'm curious to see how that plays out, if he's going to be on the injury report this week. But if whoever's in there, whoever the number one is, if it's either 6 or if it's 11, Marshawn needs to be following with them. I feel like whatever other receivers that they have, I feel like Mikey or Noah I could do a great job on. I was under the impression that maybe St. Jude and Noah I should kind of battle for those plays, but just given today and what they asked him to do in the limited time that he was in, I think that we should just move forward with Noah I as our slot cornerback moving forward. And I think that we need to run the ball and just stay consistent. And we just got to score when we get to the red zone. I think that was kind of the thing that held us up. The last game, they kind of like stopped us. But when we had opportunities, we didn't take advantage of those opportunities. And we can't leave it in. We can't leave it into a kicker's hands. We have to convert in those pivotal times, and I think we'll be okay. I feel like we match up well with the Eagles, but we got to switch it up a little bit with our play calling and stuff of that nature. Carter is going to be a key. We have to block him. We cannot allow him to wreck shop and just do what he wants to do. We have to take care of him. And Bond, the linebacker, he's been playing out of his mind this year. We have to be able to get blockers on him and maintain blocks of the tight ends, and they're going to have to, get bodies at him and just be more creative in what we do. And I think we'll be fine. I think we'll be, it's a division game, so it's always a tough matchup. We know each other well. They know us. We know them. And we just going to have to just bring our A game to the table. And I feel like we could beat them. I'm confident that we could beat them. I know they're on a heater, but, hey, Goliath got to get knocked down sometimes. So I feel like why not us? It's all week.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I did stand corrected. You right. B-Rob missed that Steelers game the week before, not the Philly game. So you're definitely correct on that. But also, one of the points I wanted to make as well was, hold on, let me get my thoughts. It was just in reference to just the shit. I totally forgot what I was about to say. My bad. But yeah, anything else you want to say, Reedie? And if I get my thought back, I'll bring it back up.
No, I think we hit we kind of hit everything. Like we said, but we can go over like keys. We already went over keys to the game. So
right.
I mean, that's pretty much it. We hit it on the head. I think just do the things that got us here, that got us to these amount of wins that we got on the season. Just be better. Tell the truth. Monday is tomorrow. So they got to tell the truth about this game that we had today, because it was a bad game, but we won. So a win is a win. We got to take it and just move forward with it. But we can't come out next week and doing these things that we did, or we're going to be in a terrible way. And we kind of control our own destiny. Why not win and do what we need to do to control our destiny versus put it in the hands of this team and that team? I think the Packers are up right now, so it looks like we're not moving into that number 6 seed tonight. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say too. When we was the other day, we was talking about the difference in game records and guys that are dominant and stuff like that. Carter is definitely a game record. Any play he can cause havoc.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why we gotta make sure we prepare for him.
100%.
And I feel like we did a little bit better against the stunts today. I seen them run stunts with Jordan and the D tackle on that side, and the offensive line was a little more patient today and was able to pick some of them stunts up. So I was happy to see that as well.
Cosme is a little bit still confused on some of the stunts. I believe he had a penalty on one of them. I think when Jordan came around, or somebody came up the A gap, and he stayed on that the player that was coming down towards the C gap, and or the C or the B gap, and it was a penalty. So I think he needs to do a better job of recognition in that on those stunts, because I feel like the Eagles, they run a lot of stunts, and they're going to try to confuse the offensive line and send pressures in different ways.
Oh yeah. The Eagles, they got a good D line. Jalen Carter's a dog. He got the best of his last game. Zach Bond. And I just hate when Eagles fans type up when y'all miss. He's had a good year, but I just feel like, man, Terry should get the best of him, man. I feel like Terry should get the best out of Cooper DeJean too, man. They should really try to get him matched up against Cooper DeJean, the rookie. He got cooked by Adam last week, so he's been struggling because he's a rookie, man. That's what they got to do with Terry. They got to move him around. And Cliff should learn from that last time we played him. He was on the left side, the prime, basically 90% of the time.
Absolutely.
And yeah, running the football is going to be key for sure. But the Eagles, they got a solid defense. Gardner Johnson, Zach Bond, they got some good players. They're playing good football right now. But I feel like there's spots where we can definitely adapt for sure.
Definitely. So, question: if the guy Campbell from the 49ers was on our squad, would you cut him? Would you cut him for what he did?
Yeah, I probably would. Honestly, I probably would. I think honestly that's more of a release that deserves more release to me than when DJ Swearinger got cut years ago. You know?
Yeah, Jay Gruden was hating on that one.
Right? Yeah. He was just he was telling the truth. But this guy, when you know you're going to say you're not going to go to the game. Same thing with Deontay. At least it's suspension because Deontay Johnson did the same thing to the Ravens. They told him to go in the game. He didn't want to go in the game. Now he's suspended. So I think the Niners, they may suspend him. LeGarrette Blount did a similar thing too, where he didn't want to go to the game. He refused to go to the game. They ended up cutting him. And then the Patriots signed him and he scored 3 touchdowns for the Patriots in the AFC Championship game. So things like that happen too. I know Vontae Davis, rest in peace. He retired in the middle of the game, and he rolled out. They actually, the Niners actually were a competitive game. They only lost like 4 points, something like that. 3 points. So yeah, for them to trust in Devontae and really need him to play, and you let your teammates down like that, man, it's bare minimum suspension for me.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta. I mean, but we still gotta. I mean, I don't know. I feel like you gotta do your due diligence because a lot of these guys be dealing with mental health issues and things of that nature. Yeah, so we don't necessarily know what was going on in his head. And I thought that they made, the national media made good points when they were talking about that. But the optics don't look good, and it feels like you're quitting on your teammates. And as a competitor, we're in the fight. We're all we got. So. You know what I mean? We need all of us, in the fight, and for you to kind of like turn your back on us and walk away. That's a tough pill to swallow. But at the same time, like guys are, we live in a society where people are dealing with depression. People are, dealing with all types of things in their personal lives that we don't know that's going on. So I feel like sometimes it's bigger than the actual sport, football and basketball or whatever avenue we're in, and we kind of gotta step back and kind of like take that into consideration. But definitely, if you're just pouting because, you were an all-pro in this league at one point in time and you were kind of a rental, and then now Greenlaw comes back and you just mad, because he's getting the snaps, then you deserve to be cut. But if it was something else differently, we should get to the bottom of that because, suicide is prevalent in our society and, we could prevent it. I feel like we need to do anything we can to kind of stop that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why when a lot of our fan base was going in on Manuel Forbes. He wasn't playing good football. That's why he's going now. But I did see a lot of fans going in on Manuel Forbes, cooking him because he's skinny and all that kind of stuff. And I just eased. I was like, man, he's trying. At least he's here. He got benched, but he came back in against the Panthers, got intercepted. Like the guy was trying. So, like you said, the mental health thing. Like I was just like, yeah, I'm not even going on Emmanuel Forbes anymore. It is what it is. He was the wrong pick, but hey, at least he's here. He's on the practice. He's trying. He's putting effort. So I definitely get you what you're saying about Campbell in that aspect.
Yeah, for sure. St. Jude is definitely on that list too. He catches a beating every week, and I mean, you get in a game, you get it 5 plays, and you still they call for you to bench you more. So it's like, damn, his luck is bad. But yeah, man, yeah, fellas, it was a good talk for sure. If y'all don't have anything else, any predictions for the score next week?
Oh man, I gotta see what's going on with Packers. I gotta see what's going on with Jeremy Chin, and I'll go come up with a prediction. But I believe that I'll just say we're gonna make the playoffs. We're gonna get at least bare minimum 10 wins, and I think if you get 10, you get in. That's just my.
Yeah, I want to take this opportunity to say. I stand corrected. I think we can win maybe 2 of the 3. We'll see. I know we'll win at least 2 of the 3. I hope and I expect us to win this week. I'm not saying that we're not going to win, but I don't know. Under further investigation, I feel like it's going to be tough. But That said, I don't do predictions on score and things of that nature, but I think it's going to be a good game. And I feel like if we fix the things that we did wrong this week, and that we've been doing wrong previous weeks, and make those corrections the first game, I feel like we'll be in the game. And it's week to week in the NFL. Anything can happen any week, and I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Respect. But yeah, man. Make sure y'all like, share, subscribe at Reedie Zee on all platforms. Make sure y'all go and follow the real Ed Oliver. You know what I mean? Definitely appreciate you getting on our show, bro. We appreciate your work. We appreciate your work, man. You love the grind, and you talking multiple sports. So that's a lot of work. So definitely salute to you on that.
Yeah,
and just keep grinding, man. Keep pushing. And I mean, anytime you want to get us on the show or anything like that, let us know. We here for the collaboration all the way through and through.
100%. Appreciate you guys.
No question. But yeah, though, shout out to our subscribers. Shout out to everyone. Shout out to our sponsors as well. Great Clothing Line, Saray's Catering, and KB3 Events. Make sure you like, share, subscribe. And until next time, Reedie and Z, we out.